every day is a national day of something. Welcome to Today Is, a podcast about what today is. I'm Bobby Bartlett.
And I'm Joey Nickel.
Welcome to our podcast.
All right, there we go.
Yeah.
I think you landed it. I think you finally landed it.
Fourth, fifth, sixth time's a charm.
Yeah, there you go. I thank you for coming today. We have some great stuff to talk about today. First thing I want to talk about is updates. We both were on the Savannah Comedy Review competition.
We were both there. It was a pretty good time. I think that you got robbed.
Oh, you think I got robbed?
I think you got robbed.
To give some backstory on this competition, I have done this competition. This was my fifth time doing the competition.
Fifth time.
Now, I don't care that. I know this sounds stupid, but I don't really care about winning that much. I mean, I do. Like, obviously, right. I want to win. Like, it's nice to win. But, like, I like that competition because it's always sold out.
Right.
It's at a theater. It's not like at a bar. It's not like at a comedy club. It's in a theater, so the backdrop is really good.
Right.
And the audience placement's really good. I love that venue a lot.
It is a cool venue. It's a little weird because the audience is not directly.
They're not directly in front of you.
In front of you, but it's just like a little strip here, and the audience is here and here. It's a cool venue. It's
a very cool venue.
It's a unique venue. It's just a little bit different than
it is a unique venue, but I like that it's a unique venue because it looks cool in videos.
Yeah.
So I have done for 5 years. I've gotten every year. I kind of update my 5-minute recording with that competition.
Nice.
And it's great. You know, I send that recording to bookers. I get people noticing things from it. One year I got a booking just because of being on the competition. Somebody saw that I was on the competition and then booked me for it. They saw I had won the competition and they booked me for it. So I do it not necessarily to win, but to get that good video every year. It does cost money to do the competition. Most competitions like this do cost money. It's not great that it costs money, but also it is prize oriented, so the money goes to the pot. So winners get that money that you pay in.
Right, yeah, and it's not. I don't think cost prohibitive.
Yeah, it's not that bad. It's like $35 to get in. That's not that bad.
I think it's just at the pricing point to where you're going to keep most people who it's their first time going on stage from doing it.
Well, that wasn't the case this time.
Well, most people.
That's true. Most people. Yeah, we had a couple that it was their first time ever doing stand-up, and it's like, why? Like,
yeah, it's a brave way to do it.
I don't know. I didn't understand that, but I do it every year just because I actually wasn't gonna do it this year, just because 3 years in a row I placed. I got second place, then I won the competition, then I got second place again last year, so I was like, I should probably sit this one out. And actually some people last year were like, hey, stop winning this competition. and even this year, after I got off stage, the headliner, I just forgot his name.
Jerry Farber.
Faber? Jerry Farber. Jerry Farber.
Yeah.
I've known this guy for years, and I can't remember his name. No, I do know. I have known this guy for years, mostly from doing this competition. He's the headliner every year, so he reminds me every year. He's done Jackie Nights. Jackie Nights used to be a comedy club in St. Augustine, Florida. Great comedy club. One of the very first places I ever did stand-up.
Yep.
Speaking of competitions, that used to be the competition in the area, was to do the Jackie Nights.
That's right. I forgot about that competition.
That was the competition, and I did that competition, for the first couple. Everybody did it for the first couple years, at least the old style that they used to do it. And he did Jackie's a couple times, so I saw him there at Jackie Nights. And after the show, after I got off stage, he goes, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "What?" And he goes, "Why do you keep doing this?" These other people are not like you're not the same as these other people. And I was like, "Yeah, I know, but I like getting their recording." It's like, all right. So that did make me feel good, like when I got off stage and he said that to me, because he did like my performance. And And it is a great show. I really have a good time doing it, and I love Savannah.
Yes. It's a blast. I had planned it a while ago because you had talked so highly of the club, and I went up and did a guest spot a couple months ago with a comedian that I've wanted to work with for a long time.
Oh, that's right. Who was that?
Andy Forrester.
Oh, yeah, I love Andy Forrester.
Yeah, he's great. I heard he was going to be there. You know, I was kind of looking at his schedule. I'm like, I know this club. And, you know, Joey talks about how great this is. You know, so I worked out getting a guest spot. So did that. You know, came back for the competition and loved the competition. We worked it out. My wife and I went up. You know, had a dinner, walked around.
I love the show, Savannah, and the area that the theater's in. It's the Bay Street Theater in Savannah, which is a historical building, which is bad because they don't have to put in an elevator for wheelchairs.
Right, yeah.
So Wes Johnson every year is like, all right, good luck with that competition I'm not allowed to do because he's in a wheelchair.
Right.
1 year, Wes Johnson did the competition, and I carried his wheelchair. I carried him up. Me and his dad carried him up those stairs to do that competition, and then he beat me. So I was like...
So you can't take him back.
Yeah, I know. He's always going to beat me if I help him get upstairs. But it is a great building. It's a great area. I love downtown Savannah because it's a walking downtown.
Yes.
You can just walk anywhere. You can get anywhere by walking, and they have, everything's kind of central around that square there, and then you can just kind of walk your way around.
Yes, and it's not overly crazy like a New York Times square.
Right. Yeah, it's not.
Where you have that. It's just a nice, lots of local businesses that are just really, really.
It's also not
fun.
like in your face. Like there's no like bright lights. There's no like. I mean, I guess it's touristy, like because Savannah's definitely touristy, but it's not. It doesn't look touristy. Do you know what I mean by that?
It's SCAD there, so they have all the like the art people, artisanal, that it's got that vibe.
It does. Nothing seems manufactured there.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like you go to other touristy areas, you go to like Gatlinburg. This is different than Gatlinburg, but Gatlinburg's very touristy. Orlando. Yes. Orlando's very touristy. You go there, it's all like bright lights and flashing and stuff like that. It's a completely different feel in Savannah.
Even like Disney Springs, where it's supposed to
have a home feel. Yeah,
it feels very.
Savannah still feels like small town kind of.
Yes,
and I realize it's not like a huge city. It's not like Atlanta or anything like that, but it's still. But it is big enough to attract people to come there. But yeah, I love it, and I always feel like the weather's always good there, or better than Jacksonville.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
I've always had positive times there.
So join us next week when we move to Savannah, Georgia. Apparently,
yeah. There's two places that I've always thought, like, man, this is where I would want to live. In Savannah's one of them.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind living in Savannah. But anyway, so we do the competition. We go up there with Emery.
Yes.
Emery is another Jacksonville comic. We've known him for a few years now.
Yes.
He started after us, but he's very funny, very good dude. That's our mystery guest. Daniel, you want to let him in?
No, I want to.
Okay, Packer's gonna let him in. By the way, Emery crushed it.
Oh yeah,
Emery had a great set.
He had fantastic. My wife had never actually seen him do comedy before. She's heard me talk about him all the time, and it was she loved it. She's like, oh, he's really funny. Very different humor than me, which is great.
All right, our guest has arrived.
Oh, perfect! I love it.
Our special guest. You want to just come around here? I think that's going to be the easiest way. Take the long way. All right, we'll finish our Savannah talk here in a second, but we're gonna go ahead and come behind me and come sit in this seat for you. Yeah. All right, we have a special guest for you guys today. I'm
thrilled.
By the way, our podcast apparently has a weight minimum. All right, so with this, try to keep it a little close to your mouth. Right. Yeah, you can bring it back. It's a.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, you can keep it up.
I don't know technology sometimes.
All right, this is Marcus Crespo. Marcus Crespo is a great Jacksonville comic. I've known you. I mean, probably 10 years by now.
Yeah, close to.
Probably 10 years because I met you pretty early on when I started doing stand-up.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably about 10 years. Probably about the same for Bobby, or
yeah, like I know that I ran into you when I went out to the first time I saw you was at a mic at 3 Layers.
Wow.
Remember that one?
Yeah, we're talking like 2013, 2012, something. I don't know.
Yeah, in
that realm. Yeah.
And I remember seeing you a week or so later at the mall in the security cruiser, thinking I recognize that guy.
Oh, okay, yeah. So
we were still working mall security back then.
Yeah, so you've definitely known me over 10 years, and you've known me.
Yes, you're definitely over 10 years.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't know you well, but I recognized you. Yes.
Introduction.
I will say the first time I saw you was at Rain Dogs.
Okay.
And which Rain Dogs?
That's a very interesting.
Rain Dogs was one of those places. Oh, by the way, R.I.P. Rain Dogs.
Yeah.
Rain Dogs is closing. Did you hear this, Bobby?
I did not. No.
Rain Dogs is closing. The longest independent comedy show in Jacksonville. I mean, I can't think of a longer one.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, obviously the club's been here longer, but as far as independent shows,
every mic and venue outside of the zone has come and gone, except Rain Dogs, and now Rain Dogs succumbed.
Is the venue closing or just the mic?
The venue, the owner is selling the venue.
Yeah.
So
it probably won't be a Rain Dogs. It'll just be like another dispensary or something.
Yeah, something. or a like hipster arcade or something.
Yeah.
Like
yeah, we only play Donkey Kong.
Actually, that sounds like a cool band. I'm going to start a band called Hipster Arcade.
Hipster Arcade, yeah.
But yeah, that's it's sad. It's sad that it's going. It's been around for a long time. It was the first place I ever did stand up.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I'm pretty sure because there were only 2 mics. This is how long ago this was. There were really only 2 mics people went to back then. There was 3 Layers and stuff like that, but I think 3 Layers was like already on its way out.
Square One?
I did not know about Square One.
Okay.
I knew of Square One.
So Square One was Rain Dogs before Rain Dogs.
Oh,
and then Square One closed, and then and then Rain Dogs took its place, and then other places have tried to take the mantle of Rain Dogs. I mean, Rain Dogs is a shell of what it used to be, but
it used to be the go-to.
Yeah.
By the way, Eddie Pepitone performed there.
Yeah.
Like last year, wasn't it?
Last year,
Eddie Pepitone sold out that place.
Yeah.
It's insane the history that place has had, and it is sad that it is not what it used to be.
Yeah.
But it is also sad that it's closing. Even though it's not what it used to be, we still go.
Yeah.
Like we still do the show, and it's still fun.
Yeah. Because the thing I'm realizing about any venue, any mic, is the value that you bring to a show.
Yes.
The value you bring to a mic.
Yeah.
So I learned that from just having not seeing eye to eye with certain entities and not going to those rooms or shows or whatever. Because I realized I brought a certain value or a certain thing to it, and if I don't bring it and it affects it, that's on you. That's not.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I agree with that, especially you at your level and how long you've been doing stand up.
Yeah.
I think that's can apply to almost every show you do.
Yeah. I think a weird thing that's happening now. I think all 3 of us are probably experiencing it in some degree. Is just how the change is. Like I didn't like older comics would tell me this when I started that things are gonna change and you're not gonna enjoy them.
Yeah.
And I noticed they would be kind of ornery and kind of upset about it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that won't be me. And then now I'm here and I'm like every once in a while I'm old man yelling at the clouds. Get off my yard.
For sure. Yeah, exactly. I feel the exact same way. And when I was a young comic, I was like, I thought the same way. I was like, whatever. Like, what are you talking about, old man?
Yeah.
And now you're like, now you realize why Chris Buck is mad all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like
you get it.
like 10 years ago, we're like, why is he mad all the time?
Yeah.
Like, why is he like angry at comedy all the time?
So I have to do like almost like Zen breathing exercises just so I don't get to that point, you know, because there's a lot of bitter. I wouldn't say bitterness, but it's like, you know, there's times when
Definitely jaded. Definitely a lot of jaded people or jaded attitudes.
I think one of the things it's going to be a cycle. You know, you start because you love it and you want to make people laugh, and then you realize there's a business part to it, so you focus on the business, and then after a while, you have to take a step back and say, man, I want to do this because I love to make people laugh.
Yeah.
And if the business is still working, it's great. You know, but so many people get lost in that minutia of the business.
Yeah.
And they forget, you know, the joy of making people laugh.
There's three things really. It's what it does for you internally, the business, and then your social connections.
Yeah.
So the things is you have to keep a proper balance. Because if you go too far in one direction, you're affecting the other two.
Oh, and I've definitely seen people go too far into the social direction and not focus on doing the comedy or the business aspect of it. I've seen successful people who, and I'm sure you can think of them too, successful, or at least people I would feel are successful comics who seem to be on the right track. This usually doesn't happen to people who are, you know, full-time working comics, but it's usually somebody who's on the cusp of being a full-time working comic. Yeah. And then you see them kind of lean into the social more and let the other stuff go, maybe because they're sick of the business aspect of it.
Yeah, you get burned out.
And then you're like, "Oh, they're so cool to hang out with, but why aren't they doing more shows?" Yeah. Kind of stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it varies. Everyone's balance is different for everyone.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, you can still, I'm not married. I don't have kids. You know.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
You have kids, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm married with kids, primary breadwinner. Yeah. So that factors every decision.
So your social burnout is way different than mine. You know?
Yeah,
even
that's
though
true.
I went through like different things last year.
That's true.
You know.
You're saying you have nothing else.
Well, I mean, essentially, I have nothing to live for, guys. All right, comedy's it. All right, that's my baby. And if my baby doesn't graduate, then, you know, daddy loses his house, you know.
No, but you're exactly right. You know, you have the more opportunities to devote to the social aspect or to the business aspect.
Now I do. Yeah. I was a caretaker.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Fortunately, my dad passed away, but like. And I mean, for me, that was the thing that was affecting me personally in my career was I had a lot of personal stuff that like a couple years ago I lost my job, lost my place, was homeless. Like at one point doing comedy full time, no one knew. I was like living in my car, taking showers at Planet Fitness, you know, and no one was none the wiser for a while. Like I was living in my car for like 5 months.
What? Now, did I meet you before or after that? How long ago was that?
Oh no, you knew if you met me in Jacksonville. Yeah. Well, I mean,
I think you were living in Orlando at the time.
Yeah,
though,
I was living in Orlando for a while, and I would come back pretty often because none of the places at the time, none of the places that I was staying at were very stable. Like it was just like I would do these like short-term leases on little places.
I think you were still working for Disney when I met you.
Yeah, I worked for Disney for 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also a security guard.
Yep.
Pretty much just the two jobs for you, right? Comedy and security.
Well, I did stuff before. I was a DoD contractor for Lockheed.
Oh, really? Oh, that's right. You told me about that.
I forgot about that. A bunch of stuff before I did comedy, like stuff that actually made money.
Yeah. And they're like, "Well, forget that. I'm doing."
Yeah. No, I mean that's another thing. Is like, comedy is a 100% passion endeavor. Yeah. You know.
Yeah, for sure.
And a lot. The cap on how much money you make sometimes is how much you're willing to sacrifice. You know, how much time you're willing to sacrifice, how much social stuff, you know, because sometimes I look back at, like, I've done some really cool stuff in my career, but then I look back at all the things I missed out from a social standpoint. And it's like, you know, I don't know what kind of feeling you have with having family and kids.
I feel like I have a pretty good balance of because I don't have like a day job. Yeah. So I feel like I have a pretty good balance of spending time with my family, and I actually, at this point in my life, I don't feel like I'm sacrificing to any of my time with my family to do comedy. there were times when I did feel like that.
Yeah.
And then I had to adjust it. But right now, I feel like I have a very good balance of spending time with my family.
Because you probably have a good communication with your family. Like, comedy cost me a relationship. Like a long-term one,
and that's and that's not uncommon. Like I've known several comics where it's just comedy kind of was the downfall of them being able to have a relationship with the person or something like that.
Yeah, and it just comes down to communication.
Yeah.
If you're not like letting them know, like I was just like, I'm going out, and then she didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah, on the flip side, I put comedy on a big pause to.
That's right. Yeah.
To make sure that my wife could stay home while we had our son. Before he went to school, and as much as I lost in the comedy scene, and not advancing the career, and I sometimes wish like, oh man, I kind of wish I was able to come out and do those things. But looking at my comedy now, I'm like, I've got better material because I sat back and because I think it's because I did the right thing and I thought about it the right way. I didn't think about it like, oh, I'm bitter. I'm like, hey, I want to do this. I'm thinking about it positively, and I'm hitting the material. So,
I think about that often, where I'm like, I wish I'd started earlier.
Yeah.
And then I wish I started comedy earlier, but now I'm like, I don't know if I had enough life experience for me. Some people can start comedy at 18. Look at like.
When'd you start?
It was 10 years ago, so I was 30 when I started.
When'd you start?
I started in my mid-20s and have taken several breaks. A lot of false starts.
Yeah. So like, what Bobby said was like very valid, because like I no matter what level of comedy I've been at, I've always had like a group of comics that always like look towards me for like advice and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's so weird.
Yeah.
Because internally I'm like, I haven't even done well. I haven't even made it yet.
Yeah. Part of that's your personality. Like I feel like part of that is you do present as an outgoing person and as somebody who has a good comedy brain. I don't now. You were probably into your. I don't know how you were when you first started. Maybe you weren't like that when you first started.
Oh no, yeah. When I first started, I was like new kid on the block, young. I was always the youngest person in all the comedy circles. So it's weird being referred to as Papa Crespo by some people. But one of the things that I told them what Bobby was saying, like if they feel stuck, they were like, oh, I don't know, I just can't sit down and write. I'm like, well, you're not living enough. You're not doing enough.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That always baffles me.
You have to have a life worth commenting on.
Yeah.
You have to, in order to be a good. Now, I would say there are exceptions.
Yeah.
But I just feel like in order to be a good stand-up, or at least a relatable stand-up comic, you have to have a life worth writing about.
Yeah, because if you ever see any young comics who really just get it right away, if you look at their life has been
something
insane.
Happened. Yeah, something happened to them when they were young that they had to grow up fast. Usually,
yeah. Because I started at 23, but like I wasn't worth any weight in salt on comedy until I started pushing towards my 30s.
Right. Yeah.
Because I wasn't doing anything, and then when I started talking about stuff, it was all the mall stuff, and that was. I started comedy and I started working at the mall security, roughly around the same time. Right. So
yeah, even if you're an observational comedian, you've got to observe something. Go observe.
Yeah.
Well, and look at like if you
sorry.
just think if you had like when you started comedy, if you had leaned into it and that was the only thing you were doing, and you weren't mall security, look at all the material you wouldn't have had working mall security, because you have so much material from that.
I probably have a full special worth of material.
Just mall security stuff, yeah. We should film it. We should film it at the Regency Mall.
Oh, I wanted to. I've actually got to perform there at the mall.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. There's been a couple iterations of doing shows at the Regency Mall, I think. By the way, if you're not from Jacksonville,
it's okay. Just a quick backstory into Regency Square Mall. Regency Square Mall is the oldest temperature-controlled indoor mall in the Southeast. It's been around since 1964, I believe. Hayden Burns, he was the governor that sanctioned Walt Disney World. He's the one who sanctioned the opening of Regency Square Mall. Now it's a Scooby-Doo ghost town. It's,
it's bad. Yeah,
it is haunted. If you're into paranormal stuff, I got some stories about the mall.
I guess the only reason it hasn't closed is because some of those places still have contracts. I don't know.
Yeah, well, there's first of all, there's a church in the center. What used
oh,
to be,
that's right.
Belk.
I forgot there's a church there now.
Also, Dillard's Clearance Center.
Oh yeah.
Dillard's owns that particular building. They actually own the building, and they also have stake on the parking lot around it. So it used Sears and JCPenney used to own their building, but then their businesses folded. Yeah.
So, just a couple quick questions before we get into our topic.
Okay.
Now you've been doing stand up for like 16 years, 16 years. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't have any questions. I don't know.
I've been doing it too long to be where I'm at, brother.
I was going to ask you some questions, but I forgot. Marcus. That's our intro to Marcus Crespo.
Yeah.
Great stand-up comic.
Better person. Great stand-up comic. Better person.
Yeah, very good person. We really. I'll say this about Marcus Crespo. Every time I get a show started somewhere, the next time I do the show, almost 100% of the time, I'm asking Marcus Crespo to do it. So, like, if somebody hires me to come do a show, I usually do the first one myself, and then the next one I do there, Marcus Crespo's closing that show for me. He's my go-to, Marcus Crespo.
I don't know how to take compliments.
And if he's not available,
I'm like, I don't know. I don't like this icky feeling.
Well, I always know. I would say you are. This is my. If I were to label you, I would say you are the most reliable comic in Jacksonville. And by reliable, I mean I can bring you to any venue, and I know you're going to be fine. Yeah. I can bring you to a church. I can bring you to a place that's not a church. I was going to try to think of the opposite, but I was like, this is a clean podcast.
I would feel comfortable putting you in front of elementary school kids.
I feel like you could do it.
And then taking you to a biker bar.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's interesting because I feel kind of the same way with both of you guys. Adaptability is something that I think is undervalued in comedy.
Oh, I think it is for sure. Yeah. I think I see comics get booked all the time where it's like, there's no way they're going to do good at that show. Yeah. You just saw them kill at a hipster bar.
Yeah.
Or
a grimy beach bar.
Yeah, exactly. With their friends there.
Yeah. And I think that comes from I think the mindset difference is when you're not famous, you don't have a name, you don't have the machine behind you, right. But you're trying to do this professionally. A lot of times you have to take on a lot of different diversified types of gigs, and you have to do that professionally. So if you don't build that bone in your body, you don't have it.
Yep. And I understand finding your audience.
Yeah.
I understand that. But I also, and a lot of people will argue like you don't need to be able to be adaptable if you can find your audience. Yeah, that's true. But we still need comics that are adaptable. We still need those comics, or we wouldn't have an industry.
Yeah, of course I want to find my audience, but also a lot of comics that are like, I want to find my audience, also are not in the position where they're like, I got to take this gig because if I don't take this gig, I don't get my car paid this month. There's not a lot of comics that are in that position. There's comics that get paid, but there's not a lot of comics that are professional.
Yeah.
That's the difference is like, your mindset changes sometimes. Yeah, I lean a certain way politically, but I know if I'm doing shows in the middle of Florida, that there's going to be a lot of people that lean a little bit differently in the way I,
and it's not saying that we're sellouts. I mean, we are, but
it's
not.
I'm a total sellout.
I would definitely do pretty much any show for money, but would I do a Trump rally for money? Maybe.
I've done close to the equivalent. I performed for a very closely tied congressional candidate, and he knew that I probably did not vote in his direction. He was really cool about it. It was well,
that's good.
But I mean, my thing is like at the end of the day, I'm an entertainer. I understand this whole weird thing about comics being like the truth sayers and stuff, but like at the end of the day, our role is just we're court jesters.
We're entertainers, and we're working for the people. I think a lot of comics miss that. When you hear a comic say, "Well, I don't do it for the money," well, okay, that's fine. Well, I also don't do it, and they're like, "Well, what about the fact that you don't get any laughs?" Yeah. Like, well, I don't do it for them. I do it for me. I'm like, okay, but that's fine. Like, you can do that, but that's not stand-up comedy.
Yeah,
like stand-up comedy is for them. It's for the people you're doing it for.
Don't get mad when you don't get on shows.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's fine. You can do that. Just don't get mad when you don't get booked. Yeah.
There was a cottage industry of comedians really just using comedy for therapy. Like, hey, this is my therapy. Sure. Yeah. I need to get up here and talk about all of the things that make me feel bad, and if you don't validate it, you're not supporting comedy.
Yeah. I always get annoyed when comics like that get mad at the audience when they bomb, and then they're like, "Okay, guys, you didn't like that," and the reason, and I understand that the reason why they're mad is because they're opening up, and now they feel rejected as a person.
Yeah, their vulnerability has been affected.
But it's like I just, as a showrunner, that always bugs me when that happens. You know, and I'm sure you see it. You've seen it. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
I mean, and at this point, this I have to view comedy from literally everybody's perspective.
Yeah.
Especially when you take on a gig, and it's fairly lucrative, and you got a bunch of people who probably don't normally see eye to eye with you on a lot of topics. My thing is when I go to those gigs, I want to be as funny as possible. I'll scour my material, make sure that it's like not ruffling feathers, but sometimes it's fun to push the envelope, but in a fun way. I have bits that push it, but like it's not really overt.
I feel like you're very good at walking that line of. For me, my favorite thing to do is make somebody laugh at something they're not supposed to laugh at.
That's so fun.
That's like for me, that's like the goal, like of my comedy almost. It's like I know when joke's not going to do that, but and you can't do that all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
But like that, I love making somebody laugh at something they know they're not supposed to laugh at.
Yeah. Or it probably naturally goes against their own moral code.
Yes. Yeah.
And they enjoyed it, and I love calling it out. Like, hey, I got you to laugh at that. You know, I don't do it too often, depending on the gig, because I'm already in my head about like everything else.
If I'm getting paid by somebody to do a gig, it's a little different. If I'm doing a corporate event or a church event, But if I'm at a public comedy show and I know there's somebody in the audience that feels a certain way, and I push that, and I get them to laugh at that, that's like that. That's the gold for me. That's gold.
I was at a show on Thursday, and an audience member that I knew was upset because the host was making flirty comments to another person at the table while on stage. And the person was upset, like, don't they know this person's married? And that person mentioned their wife as well. I'm like, you shouldn't come to comedy shows.
Welcome to half of comedy shows.
Yeah. I don't think people get the nuance about like performance styles and like
sometimes I want to say, like, have you heard a joke before? Like,
it's gotten to a point now though. If I do crowd work on someone, I did this this past Saturday. I did a lot of heavy crowd work on this particular group of people who were being kind of, I wouldn't say hecklers. They're the people that get a little inebriated and they want to be a part of the show. Yeah. So I started going in on them very playfully. But my thing is even when I do that after the show, I always try to find them and be like, hey, thanks for being a good sport, blah, 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 blah. Because there's already a stigma about not wanting to sit up front.
I know, and it just gets worse when something like that happens.
Well, it's a lot of times is when people do crowd work, but they're not. They're either too aggressive or they're not good at it.
Yeah, I just had a buddy. He's like, hey man, I'm going to Vegas and I'm gonna go to that place you were at. I got tickets, but I didn't go up front because I'm not brave enough. Like, man, it's like sit where you want.
Yeah.
Like most comedians.
I will say that when I'm running shows and it is a formal seating arrangement and people come in and they're like, we don't want to sit up front because we're afraid they're going to make fun of us. I will lie to their faces and I will say, no, they're not going to make fun of you. Like, don't just sit up front. And now they may or may not.
Yeah.
But I cannot guarantee they're not going to.
I try to go a different direction. So at Paper Route, a lot of times people don't want to sit up front. Or when I'm part of a show, I'm not running it, but I'm just part of the show, and I'm like greeting people at the door. And they're like, I don't want to sit up front, and it's a smaller venue. I'm like, hey, look around. We can see you no matter.
Yeah,
where
yeah. You don't have to sit up front.
We're gonna pick on you whether you're in the back row or the front row. So just come up front.
Yeah.
And just have fun.
Might as well lean into it and be part of the joke.
Yeah.
Instead. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember Comedy Club of Jacksonville doesn't exist anymore, but Comedy Club of Jacksonville had a disclaimer on there. It's not disclaimer, but like a notice on there. This is early on. I was maybe a year or two in.
Yeah.
I think I had barely gotten past at the Comedy Zone.
Okay.
And then I went. The first time I ever went to the Comedy Club of Jacksonville was as a customer to see a comic I wanted to see, and it said, as I'm buying the ticket, a notice like, just so you know, our comics are instructed not to talk to the front row, and just so don't worry about buying a ticket for the front row. And the front row seats were cheaper. For some, like they were like a couple bucks cheaper.
Good business.
And it said, so sit in the front row because it's not, you don't have to worry about it. We've instructed our comics. Absolutely a lie, because as soon as I knew it was going to be a lie, because I knew this comic, and I knew he was going to talk to the front row.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't a crowd work comic, but I knew he had a section of his act where he would do crowd work.
Yeah.
Obviously talked to almost everybody on the front row.
Funny.
The entire show. So I was like, all right, they just completely lied to people to get them to buy the front row ticket.
Yeah.
Well, the guy who opened that club used to run the marketing for the Comedy Zone and said, hey, I think I can flip this business model on its head. And that's what he tried to do.
Yeah.
R.I.P. that club.
Yeah.
I have mixed feelings about it because it was good and bad. Like there were good things about it, and there were some terrible things about it too.
It was just an odd setup.
It was an odd setup. It just open, way too open of a space.
I did like though it was like this intermediator club between the scene and the Comedy Zone.
Yeah.
And it also used to book our comics that should have been at the Comedy Zone, but they weren't. But they were at the Comedy Club of Jacks, and now a lot of these guys are massive stars in comedy, and then we got to see them for basically almost on the cheap.
Yeah, it's true. They did bring a lot of comedy to Jacksonville that we wouldn't have been able to see without that club.
Yeah, that's the one thing. I think that's the one thing I kind of miss about some of the independent clubs here, not having the type of
for sure
sway, into bringing like comics that wouldn't normally headline the A Room.
I think it's about time to move on to our topic.
Yeah.
We're an hour-long podcast. We're already
oh man,
we're already 40 minutes in, so we've got 20 minutes to talk about our topic.
But you know what the best thing is about it though? It's a quick subject just by its nature.
It's not, because the subject is
today is.
Oh, this always.
I
always
started
happens.
way too early.
Today is. Okay. National Fast Food Day.
Nice.
National Fast Food Day.
It's quick.
Yeah. Actually, this is how the podcast goes, though, Marcus, don't worry. We always talk forever about nothing, and then we're like, wait a minute, we had a topic today, and then we bring it in. So, National Fast Food Day, we've got a couple I got a couple things in mind I want to talk about. First thing I want to bring up is I love fast food. Yeah. Obviously, if you look at me, I love eating fast food. As comics, I feel like fast food and comedy go hand in hand.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I feel like most of my meals when I'm on the road are fast food.
Yeah, because you're under time constraints. Man.
Yeah.
Especially when you're on the road, you're like, man, I got a 4-hour drive. I can't sit down and eat and enjoy. I got to go to Taco Bell or something.
And budget constraints.
And budget.
It's cheap.
Cheap. The cheapest food is, short of bringing your own food, which I've thought about sometimes when I've been broke. I've thought about bringing my own food.
Yeah. I do it. Yeah.
Sometimes I will. I think the closest I've gotten to bringing my own food is just like bringing snacks and then waiting till I got back home to eat. But but I've thought about on a hotel gig even like just like bringing some peanut butter and bread. because I didn't have any money.
I have done that. I brought a little mini cooler of drinks and
there you go.
like sandwiches.
Now that I always do bring a cooler of drinks. That's one of my favorite things to do on the road.
Yeah.
I keep it on the front seat, and I get a new drink every time I run out. Sometimes it's a 5 or 6 hour drive at a time.
Saves time.
Yeah.
That way, the only times you have to stop for either for gas or to use the restroom.
Yeah.
And also always bring a thing of baggies, like a gallon storage baggie. So if you hit a hotel breakfast and there's, like, hey,
Take some leftovers.
I can have a little bit of this later. I have fruit for later. I've got leftovers for later.
I haven't utilized that trick in a long time. I used to do that at buffets. I used to come there with my
Like sneak,
my BDU pants and put sandwich bags in it and slide like teriyaki chicken.
Now, buffets are another podcast.
Yeah. Okay.
But,
So, fast food.
First question I'm going to ask, as a comic, what's your go-to road fast food? Like if, and I'll give you 2 categories.
Okay.
First category is on the way. So let's say you're driving to, Miami, Panama City, something like that, somewhere where it's more than a few hours. And so you stop to get food somewhere. What's your go-to fast food on the way? And then what's your go-to fast food after the gig? And you're not going to hang out or anything. You're just going back to the hotel and getting food.
Okay. So if I'm going to a show, especially if it's like 5 hours or more away, usually I'm heading out in the morning. So that means I'm getting breakfast.
Yeah.
My go-to is Chick-fil-A. If I'm sitting down, I'm eating a biscuit. But if I'm on the road, it's a breakfast burrito. I get a chicken burrito, no hash browns, because they just fill it with hash browns. I'm like, no hash browns. I want what I paid for.
You want the
chicken
meat,
and egg. That's all I want. I want that morbid family
You want the
reunion.
protein.
Yeah. And the burritos are easy to eat. They're not messy. I don't like making a mess in the car.
I will agree. Yes, burritos are a go-to for me for a breakfast fast food because they are easy to eat in the car.
Very compact.
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah, and then if it's a lunch thing, if there's a Chick-fil-A, or I'm all about like nuggets, like road stuff.
Yeah.
I like burgers, but sometimes burgers are inconvenient depending on what kind of sauce.
Burgers are inconvenient, and sometimes they can one will slip, something will slip out.
And if you're on the road and you're not planning on stopping at a hotel or something first, you're probably wearing what you're wearing to the show.
Yeah,
the last
most
thing
of the
I
time.
need is like a grease stain.
I have travel shirts. I
do
will
too.
not wear my
Lately,
shirt.
I will wear an alternate shirt on the way to the gig.
I've done it too. I think as big guys, you kind of do.
Well, your stomach, it's just a landing pad.
Well, also, humidity.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you sweat.
I've sweated through shirts before. I'm like, I wish I brought it back up.
Yeah.
But yeah, if it's breakfast, it's usually breakfast burritos. Usually Chick-fil-A is my favorite. But I mean, McDonald's, Burger King. I don't even know if they have breakfast burritos.
I don't know if they have breakfast burritos, but I do like McDonald's breakfast burritos. Those are good too.
They're good. They're compact.
And they're cheap. The McDonald's
God,
ones.
Yep.
McDonald's ones. Chick-fil-A is not the cheapest
No.
of fast food places. It is really good, but it's not the cheapest of the fast food places.
Checkers. If there's a Checkers, I will find something off a Checkers menu. They have these like little chicken nuggets. I guess it's really just
Checkers and they're the same. Checkers and
Checkers
Rallies.
and Rallies, yeah.
Yeah.
Rallies
They're
is
like
the Midwest.
Hardee's and Carl's Jr. almost.
Yeah. Like
Wait,
I
is
don't
it
know.
Checkers here?
Checkers is here.
Yeah, and it's Rallies in the Midwest, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. At one point in Jacksonville, we had both.
Yeah,
Really?
that's the thing that
so
throws
it's not
me off.
necessarily regional?
I thought it was,
They
but
might have streamlined now,
I
though.
think it might be regional. But yeah, at one point we had Checkers and Rallies in Jacksonville.
That's funny.
Yeah.
All right, so what's your go-to after the gig, back to the hotel, eating on a sad hotel bed?
Oh, eating on a sad hotel bed? Okay. Well, if I'm going by myself, I'll try to find like a sit down place.
I will do that too.
Denny's or Waffle
Yeah,
House
I will
go to.
just to break up your day, so you're not going insane.
Well, Denny's specifically Waffle House. Waffle House is a group of comics after a show type thing, but sometimes I'll do
Sometimes
it.
it's not bad alone.
Just to do it, so I feel like I'm doing the beats of hanging out with comics after the show, and it's a familiar. I know the menu. I don't have to sit there and like scrutinize the menu. It's an all-star.
I have definitely done that. I've definitely gone to Waffle House or a sit-down place to kind of break up the day or break up the evening so that I'm not just alone. But I will say, I will say 9 times out of 10, I just go back to the hotel. If I'm not hanging out with anybody, I go back to the hotel and get fast food.
Yeah. My go-to meal post show. I'm going back to a hotel, just me. I'll find some place that makes a pizza, like a gas station.
Good. Yeah, gas station
Papa
pizza
John's
or a
or
Papa
something.
John's. Yeah,
And
Domino's usually is open pretty late.
Yeah, Domino's.
Yeah.
Oh, I was in Domino's in North Carolina one time. I was like, this can't be Domino's. This is way too good.
Really?
It was like it tasted very artisanal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was like,
Maybe it was an older Domino's.
I don't know.
Sometimes older Domino's, if they don't replace the ovens, they taste better.
It didn't even look like what I expect the Domino's pizza to look like. I was like, this isn't a Domino's pizza. You guys bought a craft pizza and just threw it on a Domino's box. I was eating it and smiling way more than I should while eating alone pizza by myself.
So I always get a whole pizza and then say like, and I'm like, oh, I have a fridge. I'll save the second half of the pizza for lunch the next day. It doesn't make it.
No.
Yeah, but I will say this.
I eat the whole pizza most of the time.
Out of all the things I've ever brought home as leftovers, pizza has the best turnaround.
It does.
As far as like it being
it does.
delicious still, even cold.
It has the best. It maintains the best taste as a leftover item.
Yeah.
For as far as fast food type foods.
Yeah, French fries are awesome.
No other fast food is going to be good the next day.
No.
Not 100% of the time. No other food is going to be good the next day.
Burgers are bad.
Burgers are bad.
Bread gets stale.
The chicken dries out. The fries.
are the
Forget it.
absolute-
Fries are bad 2 minutes after.
Yeah.
You've got 2 minutes on those fries.
Yeah, I feel like I gotta like put a thermometer in the fries.
Yeah.
Like, oh no.
Oh,
They're
it's dropped.
done.
I'm not
They're
going to eat
done.
them.
They're 87 degrees.
Air fryer helps a little.
Air fryer does help.
Okay.
For stuff, yes. Chicken especially. You can do chicken a day later with an air fryer.
Okay.
But I don't know. I find it hard to eat fries the next day.
Yeah. I'm pretty much off fries anyways, so.
All right, so what's your go-to on the way to a gig and then after the gig, not hanging out with anybody?
On the way there, it is pretty much I'm going to want coffee. So I would almost always do a Dunkin' with they have the egg bites, which are
those are good. Yeah.
Those are great and they're healthier, which I'm trying to do more. After the show, I try if I'm gonna have it, I'm gonna look for something I can't have around home.
I will do that a lot too. Yeah,
I like regional.
That's
places.
my daytime thing though. So like what I do is that's if I'm staying overnight, the next day I find a place that I can't go to.
Okay.
You're right. That's what I do if I'm there for a weekend.
That's my breakfast or lunch. Yeah.
Yeah.
My breakfast or lunch the next day is going to be a place that I've never been to before or a place that I can't get at home. It's going to be a local place.
Yeah. Those are my favorite. And actually, the by far best fast food experience I've ever had was in Birmingham, Alabama at Milo's. So if you know Milo's sweet tea, they sell it at like gas stations, Publix. That is it's branded from this fast food place.
Oh,
I did not know that.
And so I didn't either.
I love Milo's lemonade.
Yeah. So I'm there. So I'm there. I'm like, oh yeah, they've got good like hamburgers and stuff
That's
like
funny.
that.
I didn't know it was a fast food place.
I had no idea.
Is it a one-on-one? One of one? Is it just
no? There's
or is it a chain?
It's a chain.
It might be an Alabama chain.
It is an Alabama chain. I went in. I was just looking at the menu, and the lady's like, hey. What do you want? And I'm like, I've never been here. She's like, well, you've got to try the sauces. She pulled out a tray, pulled out 5 different sauces, gave me a chicken tender and fries. And here, try the sauces and figure out what you want before you order.
Oh wow!
I'm like,
that is so hospitable.
Yeah.
I didn't want I ordered a burger. I didn't want fries. I ordered fries and a drink and a little hand pie thing too. It was
I bet the hand pie was great.
Oh, it was good.
I love a good hand pie that's low. That's
yeah.
I mean, McDonald's is McDonald's, whatever. I'll still eat a hand pie from McDonald's, but when you find a good, I love finding a good hand pie. And is it a Southern thing? Hand pies? I don't know. or not Southern. Is it like a? I feel like good hand pies are a rural thing. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like, you're not finding a good hand pie in downtown Jacksonville. You're not going to...
Yeah.
Like, now, it's only a matter of time till hipsters discover them, and then they're going to be all over downtown places.
Yeah.
But, like, I feel like you find good hand pies, like, in the mountains or, like, at a country market or something that.
Yeah. Because, I mean, first of all, if you order hand pie in downtown Jacksonville, you're not getting edible food.
Yeah.
Yeah, I highly suggest either like a Puerto Rican place. They have like an empanada.
They
kind of
do
like
make
hand
some
pie,
good
or
hand pies.
Oh yeah.
Or a place
they
in
also
the
make
country.
ones that are like that actually have like fruit, guava. Guava.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, they're fantastic.
Yeah. Ooh, empanadas. Yeah, I didn't know we were including empanadas.
I know empanadas.
Yeah.
Oh, but then also
I guess that is technically a hand pie, an empanada.
Ooh, yeah.
I love a good empanada. Okay, I'm going to start a new diet where I just eat hand pies. So it's empanadas, fruit pies.
Yeah.
All right, so that's my go-to late night is Taco Bell because it's always open late.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And it's easy to eat.
Damn.
And I always have a go-to order. I always get spicy potato taco, which, by the way, are usually $1.
Yes.
Yeah, they're
Now,
usually on the
when I've
value
been
menu.
super poor and I didn't want to spend money, I will have a whole meal of 3 spicy potato tacos. It's just enough to be meal worthy.
Yeah.
And it's $3. Most of them that's not what I buy, but sometimes that's what I'll eat. But it's usually 1 spicy potato taco, 1 beefy 5-layer, and then I was getting the steak grilled cheese burrito. It's turned on me a little bit. Have you had that one?
Yeah, well, they dropped the quality of whatever meat.
Whatever meat they were putting in it is not as good. So I'll usually either get like a crunch wrap or another beefy 5-layer.
Man, I wasn't.
You forgot about Taco Bell?
Yeah, I totally forgot about Taco Bell, dude.
You were thinking like burgers and chicken.
Yeah, burgers and chicken. But Taco Bell, sometimes I sway away from Taco Bell if I feel like, I'm not going to be near a bathroom in it.
Yeah, I know.
Couple
Like
hours.
you always have to plan those. Yeah, you
Yeah,
have to be like, listen, if this is going to tear through me.
Yeah.
Del Taco is also a strong
Del
choice
Taco
if
is very
they're
good.
Nearby.
I don't know that there's even one in Jacksonville.
No, there's not. Orlando.
I do like Del Taco.
I remember laughing at Del Taco when I lived in Orlando. I'm like, what is this ripoff?
I know.
And then people are like, it's better than Taco Bell.
No, I like Del Taco a lot. I like the sauce they put in the burritos. I think is very good on Del Taco. Whatever they use to season the inside of their burritos.
Man.
Now I'm starving.
So here's the thing. What is your all-time favorite fast food? The best thing you've ever had fast food wise.
Oh man, there's so many options. Now I'm just like reliving.
I know.
Yeah.
I feel like when you pass away and your life flashes in front of
now
you, but
you're
it's just all fast food memories.
I'll say. Let's think about that for a minute. Let me give you some categories real quick.
Okay.
Let's say I'm going to give you 3 divisions. Think of it like college football or whatever, or like Premier League soccer in England, where it's like the teams are you can have like you can play into different teams and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we've got 3 divisions. First division, national.
Okay.
So you've got just mass market. It's in more than 30 states.
Right.
Is a national chain. Regional. So this is like something where it's been like only the South, or maybe not even that big, but like South. Like this is specifically a Texas thing, or specifically a Southwest thing.
Gotcha.
And then local. So those are your 3 categories. Best national fast food burger. What's your opinion on that? Best national fast food burger.
So I'm gonna go with like traditional, because there's other places like Smash Burger and stuff like that.
Right.
That are national chain, but I don't consider those fast food.
I don't consider those fast food. I think in order to be fast food,
Gotta have a drive-through.
yeah, you got to have a drive-through. You can't have to go in.
Okay.
Yeah, it's got to be a drive-through to be fast food.
So in my opinion, out of the chains of burgers, Whataburger.
Oh,
Whataburger.
okay.
Yeah.
You know what though? I would say that's a regional place though.
Oh yeah, you're
It does feel like a national place because in all the places we go because we live in the South.
Well, we do a lot of Southeast.
But like, there's no. You know what though? I think there might be a Whataburger in the Midwest though too.
Yeah,
that might be. You know what? I think it might be a national thing.
Okay, so if it's on the technicality Whataburger, if it's on just pure, they're everywhere in the country, then it's Wendy's.
Oh, you know what? I might agree with that. Actually, I think I absolutely agree with that. I think Whataburger is my number one, like, mass market one. But yes, if we're saying that it's a regional, although I think it might be national, because I think there's some in Ohio. Are there Whataburger in Ohio?
Yeah,
there weren't when I grew up there, but there might be now.
I think there's Whataburger. I think that's a national. Okay, I would say national Whataburger. But yeah, Wendy's is good. I like their meat.
Yeah.
They don't have the not everything there is good, but I do like a burger at Wendy's.
And they have a lot of good value menu type of options.
Yes, they're cheap.
Which is not it's few and far between now. A lot of the other places. Yeah. It's fast food's getting really expensive.
Wendy's is thankfully able to hold on a little bit to that meal deal, the $5 meal deal or whatever. You know, you can get nuggets, fries, a drink, and a burger still for $5.
It used to be Burger King for me, but then I don't know what happened.
They changed. We talked about this earlier.
Oh, man.
Burger
you
King
order
changed.
a cheeseburger and the cheese is not even melted.
It's not even melted. The Wendy's, Burger King, the Whopper was my go-to fast food burger.
Yeah.
Like, and mainly because, and Whataburger I still would say was better, but Whataburger's more expensive.
Yeah.
So like, but the Whopper, they had the deals where you'd get 2 Whoppers for like, you buy one, get one free Whoppers. That's a whole meal right there.
Yeah.
And they went downhill so fast.
Yeah.
It was like their buns are dry. The burger itself is not cooked, doesn't taste as good.
Oh, yeah.
The staff wants to fight you every time you go there.
And it's always like the bottom of a barrel for employees. I don't know if I ever go to Burger King anymore.
They show up to one, you have to fight the manager. Now you're the manager. You're like, what is happening?
You won the manager.
I just wanted a burger. Now I have to run this franchise.
And there's a line forming, and it's like, you were here first.
And now you have to run raids against the other fast food places in the area.
At dawn, we attack McDonald's. Yeah.
Yeah, I do miss Burger King the way it used to be. Yeah. For sure. All right, what's your favorite regional fast food place? And if you're having trouble thinking of what a regional fast food place is, I'll give you my example first. Oh wait, Bobby, we didn't ask you. What's your favorite national? Sorry, what's your favorite national burger?
At this point, is Culver's considered national?
I would say that's regional.
Regional.
Oh, I would consider it regional.
In that case, I will go to Wendy's. And so yeah.
Yeah.
I
still say I put Whataburger at the top, but yeah, Wendy's is a close second for me for national chains. Regional chains, I would say Culver's is a regional chain.
And I don't know if it wins in my regional one, though.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, my regional best burger, I don't know. Now that you say it, I do like that butter burger. That's what Culver says. That bun, the buns are good. The meat's good.
And actually, their kids meal is the best fast food deal out there right now.
Really?
Yes.
At Culver's?
Yep.
Oh, I didn't know that. And you can get cheese curds there.
Yeah.
Regional.
Putting people on game.
I know. I don't. Maybe Culver's. I might say Culver's, or I do. I would not say they have the best fast food burger, but a shout out to a regional place, Cookout.
The Cookout is really good.
That was going to be my regional.
That was going to be your regional?
Yeah.
Is that your favorite regional burger?
It's decent, but it's so affordable.
It's so affordable.
For like $12, you can get like.
I would say it wins the championship for regional fast food places for me.
Yeah.
This is the toughest one for me because there's so many. Like there's Cookout, which I loved. In-N-Out is
In-N-Out. All right, In-N-Out. I have not had In-N-Out in over 10 years, but I will say I probably would say that might be my favorite regional burger.
And that's the thing. It's just a good burger.
It is good, and people complain about it when they're not from California. I lived in California for 2 years, and when people complain about it, and they're like, I went and it wasn't good, and I was like, I don't know why. And this sounds like a bad excuse, but it's like, have it 3 times. Like the first time you have it, you're going to be like, this isn't that great. This is kind of just whatever. Have it a second time, and then like, you know what? It actually is pretty good. Have it a third time, you're going to say this is the best fast food burger I've ever had.
It's consistently just a very good burger.
I love it. And they toast the buns perfectly, and you can get I love the secret menu. Have you had In-N-Out?
No.
Oh, okay.
But no, In-N-Out is what I use to describe Taco Bell when it goes in my system. It's In-N-Out.
But so that's there. But I also have to throw out major props to Jollibee.
But they don't have a burger, do they?
They do have a burger.
Oh, they do have a burger? I didn't know that.
Things you wouldn't expect.
Yeah,
I thought it was chicken.
They have chicken.
They have chicken and burgers.
I
knew they had spaghetti.
Yeah, they've got.
I gotta try it then. I've never had the burger there.
They've got a burger, and so you can have it a couple ways, but one of them's got the slice of pineapple on it, and like kind of that teriyaki I think vibe. But it's very tasty, and it's although there is one in Jacksonville, I'm never near it.
Yeah,
so.
It's kind of out by Mayport, I
I've
think, or Beach.
It's
but the
good.
pineapple on burgers and chicken sandwiches, that's a Pacific Islander type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like it. I've had it before. I'll get a burger with a pineapple. All right. So that's the regional. Favorite local burger. I'll go first. My favorite local burger is, and I know that this is also a national chain that's not a fast food place.
Yeah.
It's called this, but there's a place between me and Gainesville called Burger Barn. And I don't know if you've ever seen it or driven by it. It's on, I want to say 16. No, that's not right. It's like that road there, Idlewild up there. If you keep driving on that road, you'll eventually find, no, that's not right either.
So eventually,
no,
there's
down
a
there,
place.
17. If you keep driving on 17, like past Palatka,
right?
And you're no, is that how you get to Gainesville? Where's Gainesville?
I don't think people need to know the directions from your house. I'm just putting.
Listen,
this
if you're
out
at
here.
my house, all right. It is a place called Burger Barn. I pass it when I go to Gainesville or anywhere, any place around there. In fact, we'll probably pass it. I'm going to. I'm actually might pass it today. There's a place called Burger Barn. Best local fast food burger I've ever had. It's amazing, and it is. First of all, it closes at 5, which is insane for a fast food place to close at before dinner time.
Right.
It's only open from 3 to 5 every day. It's 2 hours.
They're saying we specialize in late lunch. That's
Yes.
it. That's all we do.
So
late
weird,
lunch.
but it's so good. I don't know if you have a lot of experience with local fast food places, but they're always better to me. I always like the
local. A couple of them
local
have
places.
closed. There was a place called Times Grill, I think it was called.
Oh, I know about Time. Where was that?
Well, there was one near me, near where the Jollibee is.
Yes, I know about that.
They used to have an eating challenge. You would have to eat a pound and a half.
That's
burger.
why I think that's why I heard of them.
And
yeah.
I remember I ate the pound and a half burger within the time or whatever, and then I got to sign my picture, and then I looked over, and that same location, Tim Tebow apparently had eaten there.
Really?
Nice.
Yeah, so my picture
cool.
was near Tim Tebow.
With Tim Tebow.
And but they used to have this regular burger that I missed. It was called the chicken cordon bleu. And it was like
love that,
like a cordon bleu, but then you can change out the sauces and stuff that you want on there. So I would get basically the Swiss cheese, I think it is, or and then the ham, and then I would get marinara sauce.
Okay.
And
Nice.
yeah,
Well, that sounds good. That's a lot of flavors.
And now you got me thinking about another regional thing. You ever been to T-Rex Grill and like Disney?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so their burgers
are good.
because they have locations in other places.
Yes.
And they didn't have the chicken cordon bleu type thing on the menu, but they had ham, Swiss, marinara. So I got them to make me a custom burger that wasn't on the
at that
Nice.
at T-Rex Cafe or Rainforest Cafe.
Yeah. So I was thinking they should make a burger called the Raptor Rampage or something like that.
That's funny. All
The
right.
Cresposaurus.
The Cresposaurus.
So favorite local burger.
Easily 100% the Galley Boy at Swenson's. It is a place in Ohio. It was in Akron area, kind of where I grew up, and it's expanded out a little bit more in Ohio. But this is by far the best burger ever.
I gotta try it sometime.
It's a burger. I will say, like you have to like sauce, because my brother-in-law he doesn't like things on his burger. He just likes like meat and cheese and bread, which it's still a wonderful burger.
Yeah.
But you know the sauces and all the
you
stuff.
gotta like
make
the
it.
sauce. Yeah.
All right.
Like
it's still great without that stuff, but by far the best.
All right, we'll do one quick thing before we end here because we're past an hour now.
Okay.
I'll do 2 more questions. Question number 1, best fast food fries, and question number 2, best alternate fast food side. So like something that's not at every place, but it's like your favorite thing to get as a side.
Okay.
We'll have the guest go last. So we'll go Bobby first, and then I'll go, and guest goes last.
Okay, what was the first?
So first question: best fast food fries.
Best fast food fries
Of any regional, national, whatever. Best fast food fries.
And I'm not as crazy about fries. I'm probably gonna say Rallies or Checkers because they have the flavoring. I like
the
that
seasoned fries.
Right?
I do like seasoned
or
fries.
the Arby's curly fries. I
didn't even think about Arby's.
Put those together. They're tasty.
I'm going to Tallahassee later today. I am stopping at every fast food place on there on the way to Tallahassee. And now I got to find curly fries. I forgot about curly fries. Those are very good. I would say, I don't know, maybe Arby's curly fries. I do like those curly fries, but my go-to favorite fries are McDonald's. Like they're the crispiest. I love that. Like I just when they're fresh, they're so good.
Yeah.
All right, favorite fries.
All right, favorite fries. He nailed it. Checkers Rallies, dude.
Really?
Oh god.
Oh man,
Also,
I don't remember what they're
more
like.
flavorful. They also have a little bit longer shelf life without
Really?
having to reheat them.
All right, I got to try that. I got to try Checkers and Rallies fries.
Yeah,
Yeah.
All right.
They're fantastic.
Favorite alternate side, something that you usually don't get at a fast food place.
I'm a coleslaw guy.
Coleslaw, huh?
I love coleslaw.
I did not expect that.
Yeah. I like coleslaw. I like salad. I grew up like my mom and her family like taking me to places like Long John
Coleslaw.
Silver's.
Yeah.
And
I do like Long John Silver's,
and so you'd always
Yeah.
have the coleslaw, and I'm like, oh, okay, I
funny. I
kind of
wouldn't
like
have said
this.
coleslaw.
Yeah. KFC, good coleslaw.
My favorite alternate side is probably now. This is not. So Cookout has like you can get like a wrap as a side. Like you can get like they have they have like you can get another main dish as a side.
Yeah.
So I'm not counting that, but but Cookout does have this cheese curds. That's my favorite alternate side, and I found that if a place is ballsy enough to have cheese curds, they're usually good.
Yeah.
Like they're usually not going to make bad cheese curds.
Yeah.
I've gotten bad cheese curds before. Usually not from a fast food place though. Usually if they're making them, they're good at making them.
Yeah.
Like Cookout's a good example. Culver's has good cheese curds too.
Yeah. So I have 2. First one, fried okra. I love fried okra.
Fried okra is very good.
Goodness,
Yeah,
I love fried okra.
it is very good.
And then the other one is it's not cheese curds, but it's very cheese curds-ish. Is fried cheesecake bites.
Oh.
Yeah, like
I didn't think
Zaxby's
about
has
that.
those.
Do they?
I don't know if it's a side,
but
you can order it. But they have them.
I've had that before. Those
cheesecake
are amazing.
man.
Sonic used to have them, I think.
Yeah, well, Sonic's got a bunch of things. I just haven't been to Sonic in a while.
Yeah, I like some of Sonic's stuff, but if we're talking bottom of the barrel service,
Oh yeah.
100% of the time it's Sonic.
Oh well, no. For me, bottom barrel service is Steak and Shake.
Oh yeah,
I've almost gotten into a fist fight at Steak and Shake.
Yeah, Steak and Shake's not
What do
good.
they think they are? Burger King?
I don't know.
Steak and Shake isn't even good food. Like it's
Yeah.
not. Like I don't understand how they're still in business.
I don't know. Then there's been some terrible stories at Steak and Shake near the Comedy Zone. You know?
That Steak and Shake's not good.
yeah, it's rough.
Yeah.
I know enough people who think that Steak and Shake is like the front for like the mob.
Oh, probably. Like I don't know how else they're staying in business. They're not even good at the thing in their name. Like, first of all, do they have steak? Like
No.
or can you get a steak sandwich?
The
maybe?
shakes are always water.
The shakes are terrible.
Yeah.
Like the thing that they're named after isn't even good. You get the fries are terrible. Like the fries are like these shoestring fries. One time I asked for cheese on them and they were decent then, but it was the cheese was doing the heavy lifting. You know the fries aren't good if the cheese is doing the heavy lifting on the flavor.
They've got that pepper sauce on the table though. I like that stuff. Freddy's has it too.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's like the
Freddy's is good too.
Yeah.
Have you had Freddy's?
Oh yeah, Freddy. I forgot about
That's regional Freddy's.
It's fairly regional. I mean, they have.
I don't think I'd ever seen one until I came here, but I know that there are other places.
Freddy's and Culver's are both Midwest, like Chicago,
are they?
Wisconsin,
okay.
kind of places.
All right. Well, there you have it. Those are the results of Fast Food Day, National Fast Food Day.
I'm hungry.
I know. Now we're all going to go gorge ourselves in food. This is the one we had a food topic and we didn't bring any food this time.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
Yeah, next time you bring me on, just have me do. What's your favorite exercise? And we just do push-ups during the show.
Yes. Yeah. All right. So
next time you're on, I will bring you food.
Clear winners tonight, though. Clear winners tonight. I feel like Whataburger is a winner.
Yeah.
I feel like Culver's is a winner.
Yeah.
Yep.
And local fast food places. Go to local. They're always good.
Also, All-American Hot Dog and Chic.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Chic's good.
Oh, I haven't had Chic.
Chic. Oh yeah. I'm a.
Is that regional?
Yeah.
Oh, they're local.
Local? Just Jacksonville?
Yeah,
I mean, they may have a location or two outside, but
that's
they are,
local.
They are
I got to try it. There's one down there.
staple.
There's one like across the street.
They're a Jacksonville staple.
I got to try that sometime.
If you
I've never had it.
like tuna fish, their tuna in a pita is fantastic.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I said when we started the podcast how I wanted to end the podcast every time, and now I forgot what I said. What it was like. Thank you for listening to the podcast. I'm Joey Nickel.
I'm Bobby Parker.
And our guest,
Marcus Crespo.
Thank you for listening to Today Is. See you tomorrow. All right.